So, picture this. You're on a safari, the sun is setting, the grasslands stretch out like a golden ocean, and suddenly, nothing happens. No lions are roaring in the distance, no cheetahs are sprinting across the field chasing innocent prey, and not one single shark is lurking beneath the ocean's waves. Let's imagine for a moment that in this world, these top predators are nowhere to be found. What do you think would happen next? Well, instead of a calm and balanced ecosystem, things might actually get a little out of control. Deer would overrun the forests, fish would overcrowd the oceans, and the balance of nature would tip over. Now, it may sound like a silly idea, I know, but without apex predators, our world would be a really different place. And not for the better. These animals do much more than just hunt. They keep everything in check, making sure that no one species takes over. So then, why are these top predators so important for the ecosystems? And what happens if they disappear? Well, first, let's understand what apex predators are precisely to be sure that we're all on the same page. Simply put, it's an animal that sits atop the food chain, with no natural predators of its own. These are the creatures that other animals try to avoid, whether it be a lion on the savannah, a shark in the ocean, or an eagle soaring high above. They're the big players in their ecosystems, and they've got some serious skills to match. Think of lions with their powerful jaws, sharks with their extraordinary senses. These traits make them the ultimate hunters, capable of taking down prey with precision and power. But it's not only about being tough or strong. Apex predators also play a critical role in keeping their environments balanced. They make sure that the populations of other animals, like herbivores, don't get out of hand. And without them, things could quickly spiral out of control. Now, to put it simply, apex predators are nature's way of making sure everyone stays in their lane. Now, with this understanding, we have to ask ourselves, what really would happen when these guys disappear? Spoiler alert, it's not good. Without these top-tier hunters, ecosystems will begin to fall apart in ways that might surprise you. First off, without the apex predators to keep herbivore populations in check, these plant eaters can multiply quickly. Picture a forest that's overrun by deer. There's no soldier to keep them in line, so they eat and eat and eat until there's barely a leaf left. This overgrazing can lead to serious damage, with plants struggling to grow back, and eventually the entire environment could be altered. Fewer plants means less food and shelter for other species, leading to a decline in biodiversity. It's kind of like a domino effect. Once it starts, it's hard to stop. Then there's the issue of smaller predators stepping in to fill the void. However, here's the thing. They're not always up to the task. Without wolves, for example, coyotes might take over, but they don't control the herbivore populations as effectively. Instead, they may focus on smaller prey, which could lead to an imbalance in other parts of the ecosystem. This imbalance can cause unexpected changes, such as an increase in pests or the spread of disease, which can affect both wildlife and, yes, even humans, you and me and everyone we know. Oh, and let's not forget the impact on the ecosystem as a whole. When an apex predator is removed, the intricate balance they maintained begins to unravel, just as described at the start of this video. In the ocean, for instance, the loss of sharks could lead to an explosion in the population of their prey, like rays, which in turn deplete shellfish populations. And this kind of disruption could hurt local fisheries and, by extension, the human communities that rely on them. So in short, losing an apex predator, well, it's kind of like pulling out the wrong block from a Jenga tower. Things are not only going to get shaky very fast, but they would crumble as well. The consequences ripple through the entire ecosystem, affecting everything from plants to people. Now, this is a reminder that these apex predators aren't only at the top because they're the biggest or the baddest boys in town, which then takes me to what scientists call trophic cascades, which is a fancy way of saying that the presence or absence of apex predators affects everything below them in the food chain. Take, for instance, when wolves were reintroduced into Yellowstone. They didn't only control deeper populations, they also indirectly helped the trees and the plants to grow, which in turn supported more birds, beavers, and even fish. It's like a chain reaction that helps to keep the ecosystem balanced. And it's not only wolves. Sharks, for instance, help maintain the health of coral reefs by keeping fish populations in check. Without sharks, certain fish might overeat the algae that coral reefs need to thrive, leading to reef decline and loss of biodiversity. The same principle applies to orcas in polar regions, where they keep seals in check, which in turn affects fish populations and even the behavior of other marine mammals. Oh, and let's not forget about the eagles. In many ecosystems, eagles prey on various smaller animals like rabbits and fish. By keeping these populations in balance, they help maintain the health of the forests and the waterways they inhabit. Without eagles, there could be an overpopulation of these smaller animals, which would lead to overgrazing, as mentioned earlier, or the depletion of certain fish species. So, technically, we can say that apex predators are like the unsung heroes of their habitats. They make sure that everything runs smoothly, from the plants at the bottom of the food chain to the animals at the top. Now, although it is convincing, it's hard to make peace with. We ourselves are apex predators as well. But away from all that, on one hand, we do admire these powerful animals from a distance. Who doesn't love good wildlife documentaries about lions on the prowl or sharks cruising through the deep? But on the other hand, when these predators get too close for comfort, well, that's when things can get tense. One of the biggest challenges is that apex predators are often seen as threats to human safety or livelihoods. Whether it be a farmer who's worried about wolves attacking livestock or a beachgoer who's anxious about sharks, these fears can lead to conflict. Unfortunately, these conflicts, well, they don't always end well for the predators. Historically, we've hunted or driven them away in order to protect ourselves, often without realizing the long-term effects on the environment. But here's the thing. While it is true that apex predators do pose risks, those risks are often exaggerated. For example, shark attacks on humans, they're actually incredibly rare. Statistically, you're more likely to be struck by lightning than you are to be bitten by a shark. Yet, the fear of sharks has led to widespread hunting, which has severely impacted the shark populations and, by extension, the health of our oceans. And the list of cases like this are endless. But anyway, the good news is that attitudes are starting to shift. More people are recognizing the importance of these predators and the need to protect them. Conservation efforts around the world are helping stabilize populations of animals like tigers and wolves and bears. And of course, coexisting with apex predators isn't always easy, but it is possible. Not to sound like a preacher, but strategies like better livestock management, public education, and protected areas can reduce conflicts while helping to ensure that these magnificent creatures have the space they need to thrive. And so, while we may still get a little nervous around these big guys, it's important to remember that they are essential to the health of our planet. They deserve a place on this planet just as much as humans do. And let's be honest, there's just something awe-inspiring about these creatures. Whether it's the power of a lion, the stealth of a tiger, or the sheer presence of a great white shark, apex predators remind us of the wild, untamed beauty of nature. They connect us to something bigger than ourselves, a world that's still full of mystery and wonder. So there you have it. Apex predators aren't only the stars of nature documentaries or the stuff of our wildest fears, they're essential players in keeping our ecosystems balanced and thriving. And without them, the delicate balance of nature would be thrown off, leading to the consequences that ripple far beyond the animals themselves. But what do you think? Are apex predators simply misunderstood, or are they the unsung heroes of the animal kingdom? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this dive into the wild world of apex predators, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating insights into the natural world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.